Hi, year 11, Mrs. Helms here. This is question 2, part C of the 2020 endotopic test. Okay, so a beaker contains nitric acid and a universal indicator. What color is the solution? All right, so a universal indicator is going to dye that solution or turn it, the solution a color depending on how acidic or basic it is. Now we know that this is an acid, and you should also know that nitric acid is a very strong acid, so it's right down at the very end of the scale, and acids are red. Okay, so that's an easy achieved mark. Right, explain how you could neutralize the nitric acid using crushed marble chips, which is calcium carbonate. In your answer, you need to relate to the changes in color of the universal indicator appropriate to the pH, link to the pH to the relative concentration of hydrogen and hydroxide ions until neutralization is reached, and explain how you know neutralization has happened. Okay, so this is quite a long question. This is another excellence question. Okay, so at the beginning, it is going to be, so this is made up of nitric acid. So we've got nitric acid to begin with. So HNO3 is going to be very acidic. And so therefore red, due to the sort of high concentration of the hydrogen ion. Okay, so if you have more of that hydrogen ion, you're going to have a higher concentration of that. It's going to be more acidic, and it's going to be red. And this is more than any hydroxide ion present in the solution. Okay, so the pH is going to be around 1 to 2. Now, as you add the calcium carbonate chips, which is the marble chips, the hydrogen ions begin to be neutralized. Okay, so this causes the pH to rise, say to maybe between 3 to 6. So it turns the solution maybe like an orange and then onto yellow. Okay, so this is due to the fact that, so as the hydrogen ions are still greater than the hydroxide though, because it's still quite acidic. Okay, so as you add more of the calcium carbonate, this is going to increase the hydroxide in it, and then it's probably going to, when we reach neutralization is reached, we will have the hydrogen ions will be equal to the hydroxide ions. It will have a pH of about 7 and be green. Oops, green. Okay. So that's what the universal indicator will. Okay, so pretty much the main things that you want to talk about here are your color changes. So make sure you talk about your color changes. If you just do some really basic color changes in here, you're going to get a couple of achieved marks. Okay, another thing you want to talk about, if you link it to the pHs, you're going to get like your merits kind of thing like that. Okay, the other thing you want to talk about is your hydrogen ions versus your hydroxide ions in terms of concentration. So, you're going to have more hydrogen at the beginning, less at the end kind of thing. And correct pH numbers. Okay, so that's kind of important. So if you are able to link all that in together, and that's going to help you get your achieved to merit and then excellence if you have all of it. The last thing that you really want to end up is making sure that you have all of that included, and make sure that you include that's neutralization. That is what you know of neutralization. All right, so that's a nice excellence mark. You just need to make sure that you include all the bits and pieces.